Hey guys, Jen Bruno Smith here. I am here today with Joanna Andres from Joanna Andres Photography in Columbus, Ohio. How are you today?
Doing great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to talk to you. You have such a robust business out there in Columbus, and I know specifically I really want to talk to you about your Google reviews because they're killer. You have so many.
Well, thanks for having me. And yeah, I would love to talk to you a little bit about how all that works and how I can get some reviews and some tips and things like that for people so they can also get a lot of reviews on Google as well.
That's wonderful. So let's back up a little bit. So a lot of our listeners, they might be new to photography or some are seasoned. We have a lot of photographers that are listening that might shoot boudoir because that's what I shoot. But I started out in family newborn photography. So it always has a special place in my heart. I still have like heaps of newborn props in my basement, by the way, that I can't like get rid of. I tried to give it away. People don't want it. So yeah, there's just so much stuff in our basement still. So tell me a little bit about where you started. How long have you been shooting?
I've been shooting professionally for about 5 years. So I have two children, and I was a stay-at-home mom. And so when I had my two kids, we would actually go to a photographer and get their milestone sessions done and things like that. And my husband was like, why don't we just get a camera and you can learn how to do it? So we got a camera, and then I was like, this still does not take pictures like a photographer. So I took a local class like on how to use the settings, how to use the camera. But I still was like, this still doesn't look like a professional photographer. So I actually had a friend that did it as a hobby, and he taught me a little bit on Lightroom and some Photoshop. And then I just started doing some online stuff, taking pictures of my kids a lot, and then posting it on Facebook and social media. And then I would have friends that would say, hey, could you take pictures of my kids? And they'd start giving me gift cards just for my time. And eventually I was like, well, maybe this is something I can do. So I kind of invested in myself to learn a little bit more. And now I'm here.
Yeah, so you're pretty successful. How many newborns do you shoot a year?
Last year I shot about 80 newborns.
That is a lot of babies.
Yeah. And I actually was going through breast cancer last year too.
Oh, wow.
So I was able to do all that and go through chemo and radiation, and
Wow.
even I only took like 2 weeks off the entire time. But I have such a passion for what I do that it doesn't feel like work to me, and it helped me through my treatments because I just enjoyed it, and I didn't have to sit around and feel like I was sick. I just pushed through it, and the babies bring me a lot of joy. So it helped with my treatments. So
Hey, that's amazing. So so I'm sure you ramped up to shooting 80 a year. When did you really start to like for me, it was like 2017 where things started to really come together for me. Was there like a specific year where you were like, okay, like this makes sense. I know what I need to do to like run a successful business?
yeah, I think it was when I switched over to IPS, which was about 3 years ago. And I was so afraid to switch over, but I ended up getting busier because I'm offering a full service, just a higher, nicer experience. I built a studio in my basement, so it was a lot nicer. I was in the beginning doing it in my little office with like natural light. So I just invested in myself. And at first I was afraid. I was like, there's no way people are going to spend, a couple $1,000s on newborn photos. But I just did it. And I got busier. So
Yeah, IPS is definitely the way to go. So you're in your basement now with your studio, which looks gorgeous, by the way. Beautiful. So what does your husband say about, you got a camera to just take pictures of your kids, and now here you are like running a legit business, bringing in actual income. What does he say? Like, is he so proud of you?
Yeah, he is. And I mean, he's honestly just always shocked. He's like, they spent how much? And I'm like, I mean, and now I'm to the point where like, yeah, I'm worth it. Not only can do what I can do, and there is a specialty there with posing the babies and things like that. But in addition to that, just sitting down with the clients and creating that relationship with them is huge. So, but yeah, he's completely shocked that it changed within like the last 3 years completely.
I remember whenever I first started really getting good at boudoir, and when we would have big sales, I would call my husband, or go over to him. I'd be like, "You ready to play our favorite game?" And I would make him guess what my sale was. And now I'm so used to having big sales. The only time I do that now is when I sell my $8,000 collection. And all the other times I'm like, yeah, it was like $5,000. I'm good. Like, it's really, because it happens so often now that you're just like, you get so used to it. But it is very reaffirming.
Absolutely. The first few times I was like, oh my God. And I was so scared. I'm like, are they going to go home and cancel on me? And it's just amazing how when you just get comfortable with your pricing, it just comes naturally and they're not shocked. I remember in the beginning, I was so scared to say my pricing and I'd like kind of hold my breath. And then now I'm just like, this is my pricing. This is what most people do. And it's no big deal. So
right. Definitely the more you do something, the more you get comfortable with it. And, I think that we have to believe it as the business owner, because if you don't believe it, then your clients aren't going to believe it.
Absolutely. And I think confidence is a huge thing as well.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the biggest things for me is just once you have that confidence, they can see it and they're comfortable and they know what you're doing,
Right.
So, yeah, confidence.
Totally. It makes things just make a lot more sense. So when you're doing your new, so I guess let's talk a little bit about your sessions first. And we're going to eventually get to those Google reviews because that's pretty amazing. I don't even think I have that many Google reviews. I don't even know if I have any Google reviews, to be honest. I have no idea, but it's such a good idea and I should totally start having people do it. But we were talking earlier and you said that it really comes down to the experience that you're giving people. So let's go back to the beginning. Do you do any sort of like email automation with your clients, like leading up to their session?
Yeah. So, when they first inquire with me, they get an automatic email, just introducing myself, sending some links and things like that. And then they can schedule a phone consult. So we start the process with a phone consult. And that's when I really try to start with the relationship. I just want to talk to them. And so we start with the phone call. I actually do book clients like from a phone call. I don't have them come in.
Right.
But we go ahead and book the session and then we send them like a prep guide. But a lot of it starts with that phone consult. It's just really understanding who they are, what, a little bit about their background and trying to find that connection with them. I ask a lot of questions and try to find that connection where they're comfortable with me. And a lot of people call me because they read my reviews. So they have, 207 reviews and they're all 5 stars and there's, they'll read them and they'll say, that's why I called you. So they're already a little comfortable with me and confident with me. And then once they come to the session, I just treat them like gold. I take care of the baby from the time they walk in the door. I give them a tour. I have a welcome sign for the baby, which they love because they'll take a picture of it. And
that's so cute.
Yeah. And then I'll genuinely like look at the baby and whatever features are adorable. If the baby has a lot of hair, I'll just, comment and be like, oh my gosh, your baby's beautiful. Look at all the hair, whatever it is. And I'm genuine about it. I'm not fake or anything like that. But then I just bring them down. They sit down. I have a nice little seating area. I actually have Netflix down here. So I play moving art. So it's just this comfortable music. A lot of these moms are first-time moms and they're nervous and I just have a calming little area for them. So they just feel at ease once they come in the door. And, I will sanitize my hands. I explain the process. I give them some water. I make them as comfortable as possible. I encourage them to if they want to take a nap, they're tired, and so, and I have a full-time assistant, so she'll help me throughout the process. So they know that the baby is safe. because there's somebody right there while I'm photographing the baby. So, the baby is going to be taken care of the entire time. So, I mean, they have such a great experience. And at the end, I ask them, did you have a good experience? And they'll say yes. And then when they come back for the IPS, most of them will be in tears when they're watching the slideshow. And, they're excited. They're excited about buying the products. And then afterwards, I just ask them, if you had a really good experience, if you could, write a review. And they just are like, absolutely. And once they write the review, once they come back to pick up their products, I give them like a 5x7 or an 8x10 and write a little note saying, thanks so much for taking the time to write the review. And even with the reviews that they write me, I even write something, personal, like, so nice meeting you, your baby, and I'll put the baby's name did amazing. And, they just love that. Personal touches. So
yeah, I always think it's really interesting when I talk to other photographers and other business owners that are successful, that there's a lot of there's this undercurrent of the same principles that we all do. And none of us have ever talked to each other. Like, this is the first time we've actually met, but I teach a lot of the things that you just said. Like, we talk a lot about building relationships, about, how you just said about, mentioning something, complimenting from a genuine place. Like, I do the same thing. A lot of successful, especially photographers, we do a lot of the same stuff. And what's funny is we never actually talked about it, but you find that it works over and over again, no matter your genre, no matter what you shoot. And the other thing, I wanted to touch on is, like, you are specializing in this. And do you think that part of your success is because you're specializing? Because so many photographers, right, will go out and they'll shoot everything, all the things, thinking that they're going to make more money. I totally did the same thing. If you look on my family website right now, which is still up, you will see family, senior, portrait, boudoir, product, dogs, everything.
No, I completely agree with you. Once I specialized in just newborns, I really saw my growth there as well. I stopped doing outdoor family sessions, and I'm okay with that. At first I was like, well, these clients, they have newborns, they're going to want outdoor stuff, but I no longer do it. I just specialize in newborn and children photography, and that's it. And I can refer them to other people. I've actually considered hiring a photographer here with me so they can actually maybe focus on that, since I'm focused on all the newborns. So,
and that's a great idea because you have them under your brand. You have that trust built. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's definitely, I need to look into and start doing. But.
Yeah. So one pitfall that I always fell into when I was shooting newborns is I spent an extravagant amount of money on props and like creating new little sets, because it's like catnip. Like, you see these like vendors come up in your thread, like in your news feed, and you're like, oh my gosh, that tie back is so cute. I had like a zillion tie backs. So how do you prevent yourself from going down that black hole of just dropping gobs of money on props?
That's a really good question. I have always been a saver, and I just kind of, what I do is I do have a ton of props. I do have a ton of backdrops, but I just don't overspend. I know my limits, and what I can do is just change things around. I might use a headband, but use a different backdrop or a different blanket or throw or, whatever. So you just kind of match things. But the clients don't know that you're using some of the same things because, they're just focused on that. But I do think a lot of people can go overboard and probably spend way too much money on props and things. But I definitely still buy things. I'm not going to say I don't, but I know I'm a saver. So I see my accounts going up and not spending more than what I'm making. So
yeah, I was totally, guilty of spending a lot of money on props.
It's easy to do because all the stuff is so cute.
It's so cute. And you're like, oh my God, I have to have that. And like, trends change so quickly that, like, especially with newborn photography, where you'll see a prop or something and be like, whoa, that is so cute.
Right.
And then like I would do that and then I'd use it like twice and I'd be like, done. And then I would just sit and collect dust in my closet. So that's been the one thing since I stopped shooting newborns. My husband has been so happy about. I very rarely buy props. Now I buy lingerie, so he never complains about that.
I bet.
Yeah. So you're shooting like 80 a year-ish. Do you then move those newborns right into the milestone program that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I typically do is after the newborn session, we talk at the IPS about a milestone. So I usually do like a 6-month and then a 1 year. And they usually will do an album for both. They don't spend as much as the newborn because I'm not spending as much time. A newborn session usually is 2 to 3 hours. My milestone sessions are usually about 45 minutes. So I can get through them quicker. So my newborn sessions average about $2,250, and then my milestone sessions are almost $1,000 on average. So, and I'm fine with that because, like I said, I spend about 45 minutes and I don't have to edit a ton of images. And newborns is a little bit more editing just because some of them have skin issues or they're really red or the baby acne. But they're 6 months and 1 year. There's just not a lot. Their skin's usually pretty beautiful. So.
Right. So, so let's talk about your gear really quickly. What are you using to shoot with? Are you pretty consistent?
It's funny. I've used the same gear. I actually upgraded, and I'm the type of person that doesn't like a ton of change. So so I just shoot with a Canon 6D. Nothing crazy. And then I have a couple different lenses that I like to use, and I have an Einstein, and but it's pretty basic. But I just think if you know how to shoot with the lighting, you don't have to get crazy on spending a ton of money on equipment, I guess. But it works for me. So.
I agree. And I think that is another key that a lot of new photographers, maybe another, ditch that new photographers fall into, is they get crazy with buying gear. Right. And you really don't need to. I literally never take my 24-70 off my camera body. I have a D750, a 24-70, and a speed light. Done. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't change it. You don't have to, because if you're producing the same consistent work over and over and over again, which is what sells, which is what gets you good reviews, you don't need to be like all crazy and, get crazy amounts of gear. And I do have backup. I do have a few backup bodies because, I had one fail once, and after that I was like, no, this can't happen.
I don't have a backup, but I did have mine fail on me during a session. And I literally went to the camera store, and they have rentals, and I rented the same exact camera that day. So I got lucky because there's a camera store like 5 minutes away from me.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, you are lucky. I was in the middle of a session and my shutter failed.
Yeah.
Because once you use it so much, I mean, it had a lot of clicks on it. Yeah. And I freaked out. So in my head, I'm like, oh no. Cause your client, they have their hair and makeup done. They're in lingerie. They're ready to be shot. So I went and I pulled out my really old D7000, which is a crop sensor. Yeah. I slapped my 24-70 on it. I was like, oh, this is going to suck. And it really did suck, but it was still a good sale. But as soon as I was done, I sent that thing off to Nikon, and I went and got another one. I was like, I need a backup. This cannot happen again. If people are paying me $4,000 a shoot, I cannot have my gear fail. So that is the only caveat, right? You have to have some sort of backup plan. So, so your editing is beautiful too. I'm looking at your website. Your images are gorgeous. What is your website for people that want to check out your work?
Yeah, it's www.joannaandresphotography.com.
It's beautiful. So your retouching that you're doing on the newborns, how long do you think you're retouching per image?
It honestly just depends on the baby and the baby's skin. There's some babies, African American babies are my favorite because they're the easiest to edit.
Right.
They don't have that red tone. They just have beautiful, flawless skin.
Right.
Some babies that are jaundiced, very jaundiced, so it's going to take a little bit more time. But I would say about maybe 10 minutes per image, because I definitely like to smooth the skin a little bit, just make it look like a baby face,
Right.
So, I am hand editing each individual image.
Right.
I'd say about 10 minutes for each image.
So this is definitely a more timely of a question just because of our current situation. And for listeners that are tuning in maybe and catching this podcast a few months down the road or maybe a year down the road, we're actually recording this on April 24th of 2020. So we're right in the middle of the COVID pandemic. So how is this affecting your business? And how are you working through like newborns that are born right now that you're probably not going to be able to shoot until later? So what's your plan for all that?
Yeah, so it is a very hard time right now. I mean, I obviously cannot shoot because I'm not a non-essential business. But what I'm telling all my clients is that, they've all paid retainer fees and things like that. We're just going to push it until towards a milestone session. So they'll still get some professional photography. Obviously their babies are not going to be newborn by the time I get to them for some of them, because once they're over a month, it's really hard to pose them. And I just basically explain that, and everybody's been amazing. They understand, they know what's going on, and they've all been okay with it. And there's some that have asked, once it's lifted, can we do an outdoor? And that's probably what I might have to start doing, is maybe some family shots that are outdoor, just to get them to have some images, and then back in the studio again once all this is over. So it is tough, but again, like I was saying, if you're a saver, if your business is thriving, if I was a shoot and burn, I would not be having the money that I have in the bank account now. You know what I mean? Right. So, I'm going to be okay. But it definitely is affecting, but I'm trying to embrace it, because last year I didn't take any time off. So I'm like, well, maybe this is a sign that I need to take a little time off. But
I know.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's totally, we've been struggling over here. I'm not gonna lie. Day 42 with 3 children, 3 small children.
Right.
But we keep coming back to, when would I ever take 2 months off in a row to not do anything but spend time with my family?
Absolutely.
Probably never.
Right.
So it's definitely been kind of the silver lining of this whole thing, that being safe at home has been very it's been nice sometimes, other times challenging, but it has been really nice. Right. So
and the thing is, I keep telling people that maybe that might not be as positive, is we're all healthy. Especially, like I said, I had breast cancer last year, so I'm glad that I wasn't going through it now.
Right.
With this going on. So
yeah, totally
safe, and we have food, and we have everything we need. But yeah, I miss the babies, and I'm looking forward to getting back into the swing of things. I don't know when that's actually going to happen for us, just because we are in such close contacts with these babies, and we're touching them and moving them, so I still don't know where this is all going to go, but
right.
Working on the back end of my business, like working on SEO. So when it is time for me to do this, I'm up there, and, everything's in place for when I go back.
Right. Yeah. So let's kind of circle back around to where we started talking about your Google reviews. So is there a specific, so you talk to them at their ordering appointments about it, and then do you send a follow-up email as well about it?
About the Google reviews?
Yeah, asking them?
I usually just ask them the one time at the reveal and ordering appointment, and they usually will go home and do it right away. So
Great.
I just, basically, ask them. Sometimes I'll remind them if they didn't do it, like, hey, if you get a chance, and I'll send, all you have to do is Google Joanna Andres photography and just write a little bit about your experience. And then they'll usually do it. So, but I'm pretty lucky that they're just so happy after they see all the product or all the images that they'll just go home and do it right away. So
yeah. Whenever I'm talking to my students, I always tell them, like people will, if you ask a friend to do something for you, more than likely they'll do it. And so if you're providing a good experience and they like you, most of the time if you ask them to do something for you, they will. And I think that really speaks to like the what a great experience you're giving them, because you have such a good like conversion rate for that. Like you're asking them to do it and then they're going home and doing it, and then you're rewarding them right away with the note and with sending them a print.
Yeah. Just a little thank you. And every Christmas I also send them a Christmas card and an ornament with their baby's pictures, and they love it,
Oh, that's so cute. So what do you do again? You send out, like, do you make an ornament for every client that you've shot?
Yeah, I order it. Actually, I thought I had a sample of one.
Oh, that's so cool.
I had one here, but it's just like a wood ornament and with like one of my favorite pictures from the baby's shoot. And I'll send a note saying, Merry Christmas. And then I usually don't have sales because I'm IPS, but since they've already bought their products and it's just kind of top of mind to say, hey, if you want to buy something for grandma, grandpa for Christmas, here's 20% off for Christmas. And I get additional orders and I make my money back from all the ornaments. And some will order ornaments. I've had some that said, hey, I want some for grandparents or for gifts. So it's just a really great way. You're giving them something, but then a lot of times when you give somebody something, they want to give back.
That's such a good idea. I love that. I don't know if sending out a lingerie ornament, though, would have the same appeal.
Yeah, maybe.
Here's your ass on an ornament. Thank you.
Yeah, that works. But,
I love that, though. That's such a good idea. Where do you get your ornaments from?
You know what? I had a feeling you were going to ask me that. It is a vendor. Oh, God.
I would get them for my kids. I love that idea.
I think it's called Memories for Wood or something like that. She's actually out of the country, but I think they average like $4 in ornaments, which is not bad at all. I order a big amount, like I had 80 last year, so I order a lot, but it's not bad at all. So.
And is it like imprinted on the wood, like wood grain, or is it like an actual picture?
It's actually glued on, but it's glued onto the wood, so you don't see the wood. I'm not a big wood grain person, but yeah, I wish I had that sample. I know I have one.
I would love to see it. Well, maybe after we get off, you can send me a link, because I'm sure our listeners are going to want to know about this vendor.
Yeah.
Sounds really cool. And then we can just kind of embed it in the information for the podcast. And also this will go on YouTube as well. So if they're watching this, that way they can just click on the link for the vendor for the ornaments. But that's such a good idea. And you're recapturing these clients back with that. It's a really, really good idea. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just something I've always done I've done it the last 3 years, and they get so excited. They'll even post stuff on Instagram or, so it's helping me too. Like they're just resending and putting it out first that I'm there, and I did that for them. So
right. So do you batch order them? Like, will you sit down and be like, okay, 80 clients, here we go. Like, here's 80 pictures.
Yeah. So I have a full-time assistant. She helps me with that. So I usually do like one sneak peek for every session. So I usually use that sneak peek. So I have a folder for that, and we just go through and do that. It's all ready to go.
That's a really good idea. That's great. Mm-hmm. So many good little nuggets today with all of this information. I love it. That's wonderful. Yeah.
It's fun.
if people want to follow you on Instagram, tell us about your social media. So because I'm sure there's lots of people that are going to want to check out your work.
Yeah, so I have a Facebook page. It's just Joanna Andres Photography, as well as Instagram. It's Joanna Andres Photography. So I'm just Facebook and Instagram. And I recently, this is kind of funny, my daughter is into TikTok.
Oh, I love that you just brought this up. This has been my thing lately. My husband's been walking around calling me TikTok.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So she's into it. And so I've been watching it. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to put some things on, about photography. So I did a couple of like sessions that I did a triplet session and it blew up. I had like 20,000 followers within like a week.
That's crazy. What is your TikTok handle?
It's just Joanna Andres Photography.
Nice.
It's what's funny is, my daughter's like, oh my gosh, you're going back. It's on the For You page, like, which is a huge thing for these young kids. Like they want to get on the For You page. Yeah. But I actually got a lead from it, which is insane. I never thought I would, but somebody saw it and they were out of state. But she said her granddaughter was close by and they would drive. I mean, they didn't end up booking, but still I just got a lead. So it's kind of.
So I've actually been booking from it.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. So I started TikTok 9 days ago and 4 days in, I had a video go viral. It has like 110,000 views or something like that.
Yeah.
And I've booked maybe 5 sessions from it. And I've had maybe 20 inquiries like in the last week.
That's amazing.
It's crazy.
It's kind of a secret that nobody really knows about. Because I think it targets a lot younger, but nobody knows about it. So if you're the first on there, that's huge.
I honestly think that this is the beginning, like this platform is in its infancy right now. So you know how in the beginning, like a few years ago on Facebook, if you started a group and you could really build that, like right now my VIP group has like 14,000 women in it, and it was much easier for me to like gain traction. And now it's really hard, right, on Facebook. Well, TikTok is in its infancy right now. So this is when we can get that organic reach really easily. So if you're not on TikTok, that is, I think, where it's going to be. And now's the time to really build your reach. So 20,000 followers, though, is amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome. I couldn't believe it. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, one of them almost had 1,000 or 1 million views, but
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was a triplet session, which was adorable. It was like triplets. So cute. They were so cute. But
so do you have any tips on how to get things to go viral? Because I can't quite figure that out. You know that?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just the content, but, just putting in I guess they're hashtags, For You page. I can't even think of some of this. I honestly had my 10-year-old daughter do it for me.
Really? So what is this For You page? I'm going to have to start looking into that.
Let me tell you what I actually did.
I love that this went from Google reviews to TikTok, which has basically been what I've been talking about for the last 10 days. My husband he's going to die whenever I tell him that my podcast ended up moving in a totally different direction because everybody's talking about it. And it's going to be huge for us. I'm pretty sure if you get in now, like it's really the ideal time to start this platform.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I think I put hashtag For You page and hashtag That's What I Like. And then I just put hashtag Joanna Andres Photography, and that was it.
Wow. That's amazing.
Oh, you know what? I had another one. I had hashtag triplet. I did a couple of them. Hashtag triplets, hashtag FYP For You page. I didn't put a ton of hashtags, but
yeah. I think some of it is just kind of dumb luck. Like it's just you're lucky.
Yeah.
I think sometimes.
I do. Some of the stuff on there, you're like, how does this have like 5 million likes on it?
Right. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. So this has been so great. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat. And I know that there's been some really helpful information in here for our listeners. So tell us one more time where people can find you at.
So you can go on www.joannaandresphotography.com, and my Facebook page is just Joanna Andres Photography. And same for Instagram and TikTok.
Perfect. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It was so good talking with you. And I will catch you over on TikTok now.
Yeah, definitely. I'll have to follow you too.
Perfect. Mine is Boudoir by Jennifer Smith.
Okay, I'll look you up for sure.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much.